ABC News 4 at 5 starts now.
That's a lot of water. That is an awful lot of water.
And now at 5 o'clock, how did a Lowcountry man use nearly 10 million gallons of water in just a month? We investigate the slow drip of a bill snafu.
But first, it is your voice, your future. Governor, congressman, medical marijuana. They're all on the ballot today. And right now, people across South Carolina are making their voices heard.
And less than an hour ago, President Trump weighed in endorsing Katie Arrington for Congress. That endorsement included a dig at Mark Sanford, saying he's better off in Argentina. Tonight, we dig deep into that race and several others. We have reporters live across the state bringing you the very latest in election 2018.
But first, we take a live look outside tonight and more on election coverage coming up. It's been a gray, rainy election Tuesday. Wondering if we are looking at a washout.
Our chief meteorologist Dave Williams is here with your first look at weather during the 5 o'clock hour. Dave?
Yeah, and today's kind of the opposite of yesterday. Yesterday we saw the showers and thunderstorms farther inland. Today they're focused pretty close to the coast. There are the raindrops falling on the Yorktown, George Sink Injury Lawyers Skyview Network, 78 degrees. Some light rain coming down at the airport. And here's where it's been focused. Pretty much right through Charleston County on down toward Beaufort County. You get farther into Berkeley County, Dorchester and Colleton County. No rain there. It's been right along the coast, and that's still where it is right now. Have a thunderstorm rumbling right now down around Beaufort. Downtown Charleston, some light to moderate rainfall. Also down towards Seabrook and Edisto. The only lightning strikes we're finding right here around Beaufort. And the good news about the rain that we've been seeing, it looks like it's wrapping up, especially right around Charleston. What does that mean? Well, in time for the River Dogs game tonight at 7:05, just a little light leftover drizzle, and it will be muggy. Temperatures around 79 degrees. We'll get you a look at that full forecast. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
This on-time traffic report is sponsored by Fred Anderson Toyota of Charleston.
There is a crash being worked at Dorchester Road at Bacon Bridge Road. Also have gotten reports of flooding Dorchester Road there at Meeting Street. So definitely use caution there. Checking out your drive times along I-26. If you were headed westbound from downtown to Summerville, that commute right now 26 minutes. But if you're headed eastbound instead, only 21 minutes. Let's take a live look out on the roadways right now. And this takes us to I-26 there at Cosgrove Avenue. Now, had reports a couple of hours ago of maybe at least a foot of water in the road. It looks like things looking much better. Eastbound traffic flowing just fine. We are seeing slower moving traffic in the westbound lanes. That's kind of typical for this time of day. But notice we are seeing some cars there off into the shoulder.
Sonia, thank you. Today's biggest race is the one for governor. It might not matter who takes that top spot, rather who secures the number 2 spot.
Catherine Templeton and John Warren are jockeying for that second spot. Both call themselves conservative outsiders.
We begin our team coverage tonight with Ann Emerson. She's live in Columbia waiting for those polls to close with Templeton supporters. Ann.
Hi, Dean. Yes, I'm at the Liberty Tap Room in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're just a couple of hours away from the polls closing. And, you know, we could be looking at a runoff. We saw Catherine Templeton today as she was greeting voters this morning. She cast her ballot in the hometown of Mount Pleasant. Templeton is trying to hold on to the number 2 position for the Republican ticket. She hopes to force a runoff with incumbent and frontrunner Henry McMaster in a couple of weeks, but her support took a hit as another candidate surged from behind. Recent polls suggest Greenville businessman John Warren is just 5 points behind Templeton, enough for Templeton to take notice and hit back.
We didn't hit back until recently, and we didn't really hit back with anything other than John Warren's own words, because the people of South Carolina need to know what they're getting, and he's not who he says he is, and we're just not sure exactly who he is, because he's come out of nowhere and written a check to buy the mansion, and that it's just not for sale.
She's referring to the latest round of attack ads against the Greenville businessman, questioning whether he is conservative enough for South Carolina, a position Warren adamantly says he can back up, both as a pro-lifer and as a supporter of the Second Amendment. Warren is a relative newcomer to the GOP race. He only announced his intention to run for governor 4 months ago, but Warren's recent popularity suggests his strong supporters from the upstate may make a difference.
I'm the only one that's created hundreds of jobs, and we have got to have someone with that kind of pedigree and background to go down there and fight for the taxpayer, and that's what I'm going to do.
Coming up at 6, we're going to have more from Templeton and Warren as they try and get into the runoff for the next governor of South Carolina. Stay with us for continuing coverage. Reporting from Catherine Templeton's watch party here in Columbia, South Carolina, I'm Ann Emerson, ABC News 4.
All right, thank you, Ann. The latest polls have Templeton around 25%, John Warren at 20%, incumbent Governor Henry McMaster has 37%. That would not be enough, though, to avoid a runoff.
Our Bill Burr is in Columbia as well with McMaster's campaign tonight. Bill, are they worried about those numbers?
Ashley and Dean, the McMaster campaign has a lot of optimism going into today. I spoke with the governor yesterday during his brief stop to Mount Pleasant, and he tells me that there's a lot of momentum following aggressive campaigning in the past few weeks. And he credits a lot of that to his running mate, a relatively unknown person. Pamela Evett is a business owner in the upstate with no political experience. I spoke with both candidates yesterday. Evett told me she accepted McMaster's offer to be his running mate because he's an experienced leader. She believes her professional background will benefit McMaster and the people of South Carolina.
I want to take all the experience that I have gained in the last 18 years of helping businesses grow and understanding this, and take it to Columbia to be your lieutenant governor and make sure that I take that with me and help not only big businesses grow in South Carolina, but all the small businesses that will flourish because big business comes here.
Evett says she met Governor McMaster at President Trump's inauguration, and they quickly began a personal friendship that turned into a political alliance. Coming up on ABC News 4 at 6 and 7 o'clock, you'll hear from Governor McMaster minutes after he cast his vote this morning here in Columbia, and we'll wait for the votes to be counted throughout the night to find out if he and Pamela Evett will get the Republican nod for the Republican Party here in South Carolina. Working for you in Columbia, Bill Burr, ABC News 4.
Bill, thank you. The other big race we are keeping an eye on, the race for the 1st Congressional District. That seat currently held by Representative Mark Sanford.
This morning, Democratic candidate Joe Cunningham voted in West Ashley, baby in hand. He acknowledges the difficulty of running as a blue candidate in a red state, but says it's not about Democrat or Republican, but what is best for the Low Country. He says step one of bringing about change is getting a new person to Washington.
Since he went up there in 1994, almost a quarter of a century ago, has the price of your health care gone down? I think the answer is no. Has the quality of your kids' education gone up? I think the answer is no. I think we need to send new people to Congress with new vision, and we need new leadership.
Cunningham will watch those election results at Baco in Mount Pleasant. Starting at 6:30 as Democratic challenger Toby Smith will be at Southern Twist. That's in North Charleston on Dorchester Road.
Whoever wins that race will face either Sanford or State Representative Katie Arrington in the general election. There's really no telling which one it will be. The latest polls have the two neck and neck tonight, separated by less than a percentage point.
Yeah, that same poll has 20% of voters undecided. Megan Rivers is in Mount Pleasant, where those voters are making those last-minute decisions in this very tight race. Megan.
Well, just under 2 hours before the polls close here and across the state, this is a big election for the 1st Congressional District. The incumbent Mark Sanford is being challenged by State Representative Katie Arrington. She's currently in her first term serving as a state representative representing parts of Charleston and Dorchester counties in Columbia. Now, Sanford has held this seat for 12 of the last 23 years, only stopping to serve as governor of South Carolina. Sanford has said Arrington has run a tough campaign. She's made a point to bring up the congressman's voting record, stating he's been against the president multiple times. Meanwhile, Sanford says he's voted in line with his Low Country constituents, even if it meant going against the sitting president.
And if people have a strongly held belief here in the Low Country about the way they want to grow and develop as a community, shouldn't they have a voice in doing so? And I've made this point. So from my vantage point, that's not a disagreement with the president. It's simply standing up for the folks that you represent here on the coast of South Carolina.
Meanwhile, Arrington has recently received praise from President Trump, and she says that she has a plan to further his agenda.
And the number one thing that's been the biggest concern through this entire, from the presidential candidacy to now, build the wall. And I have a solution. Yeah! Build that wall. But I have a solution so the taxpayers don't have to pay for it.
Well, Arrington has a watch party at the DoubleTree in North Charleston. Congressman Sanford will be here in Mount Pleasant at Liberty. We will be covering both of those and bring you the first results of those elections here on ABC News 4 and who will be representing you possibly in Washington coming forward. Reporting live in Mount Pleasant, Megan Rivers, ABC News 4.
All right, Megan, thank you. And we will bring you more election coverage in our next half hour. And then again tonight at 11 o'clock, on-set analysis of the results from a political expert.
And while we wait for those results to roll in, make sure to download our ABC News 4 app. You can get the latest numbers right there in the palm of your hand.
24 hours and 4 children dead. What happened inside a Florida apartment last night?
But first, 2 shootings in a week in a James Island neighborhood. Tonight, police say they are connected. That story's coming up in 3 minutes.